What happens when an ordinary high school student sees the future? The Tyke who sees the future. Chapter 1: The Secret of Jianyang Lake. The moonlight softly illuminated the rippling waters, causing the lake to shimmer with a silvery glow. In that serene landscape, a group of delinquent-looking students had gathered. Among them was Jinwoo, a student who neither excelled in his studies, nor was popular among his peers. Always passive, Jinwoo had been dragged to this place by the insistence of his friends. Jinwoo's school life was filled with loneliness and solitude. With a quiet and introverted personality, his academic performance was poor, and he went unnoticed among his classmates. Most of the time he spent alone, often reading books in the corner of the classroom. Then one day, some delinquent students approached Jinwoo at school. Instead of teasing or bullying him, they proposed hanging out together. Initially hesitant, Jinwoo accepted their offer. At the thought of making friends, during their first meeting, Jinwoo realized what kind of people they were. On the first day they met, they led Jinwoo to an abandoned factory on the outskirts of the city. There, they drank alcohol, smoked cigarettes, and even held drugs in their hands. Jinwoo stood there awkwardly, but his friends insisted he join in. "Jinwoo, have a drink. You have to at least drink. This much to be an adult," one friend said. Another chimed in, "Don't act like a coward, just down it in one go." Unable to withstand their pressure, Jinwoo gulped down the drink. As the alcohol burned down his throat, Jinwoo felt dizzy. But that was just the beginning. As time passed, the students started offering him drugs. "Try this, it's amazing," one friend said, holding out the drugs. Jinwoo initially refused, but eventually succumbed to their coercion and inhaled the drugs. That night, Jinwoo couldn't make it back home. Under the influence of the drugs, he lost his sense of direction. Instead, his friends took him to Jianyang Lake, a secluded spot where they often gathered away from prying eyes. Moonlight softly illuminated the rippling waters, causing the lake to shimmer with a silvery glow. In that serene landscape, Jinwoo gradually slipped into a hallucinatory state. His mind became chaotic, and the scenery before his eyes began to distort. He suddenly felt as if his surroundings were filled with light. In his hallucination, he felt a strong urge to follow the light. Driven by this compulsion, Jinwoo walked towards the lake. As he reached the water's edge, he lost his balance and plunged into the cold water. The water enveloped his entire body, cutting off his breath. Despite his desperate struggle, the effects of the alcohol and drugs drained his strength. His body sank deeper and deeper. For a long time, the students were lost in their own hallucinations, laughing and chattering away in their altered states. They didn't notice Jinwoo's absence. It wasn't until one of them realized Jinwoo was missing. "Where's Jinwoo?" one friend asked, but no one could answer. Only then did they realize Jinwoo had fallen into the lake, and in a panic, they fled the scene. Jinwoo, unconscious and sinking into the lake, slowly descended to the bottom. The students, with the receding lake behind them, did not return to look for Jinwoo. As he slowly sank in the cold water, Jinwoo was suddenly jolted awake. Just before his body touched the lake, an invisible force pulled him up. A momentary burst of light pierced the darkness, and Jinwoo began descending through a secret passage. The place where he landed was a secret laboratory filled with advanced technology. The lab was packed with cold metal walls and machines gleaming with lights. Jinwoo quickly regained his senses and realized that this place was entirely different from the world he knew.